And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience, and I have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you on today's episode of the FB Show. We are going to continue our Week 3 game previews, breaking down every single Week 3 matchup, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, the Los Angeles Rams versus the Buffalo Bills. So if you are excited for this game preview, be sure to hit that like button down below like an open receiver downfield. Also smash that subscribe button like a power running back up the middle so you never miss a video from me. I am on the verge of hitting 100 subscribers, and I would love to hit that by the end of Week 3. Last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. But let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the Rams and the Bills. A game, one of two this week, that feature two undefeated teams. The other being the Monday night game between the Chiefs and the Ravens. So one of these teams is going to lose their undefeated record this season in this matchup. I want to talk about some game notes, though, besides that. Just some storylines, some things that I find interesting heading into the week. And the first being, this Buffalo Bills offense is absolute flames, right? We've been so accustomed to seeing the Bills be this run-first team. And we spent all offseason talking about hashtag let Russ cook. Instead, the Bills let Josh Allen cook. Oh my goodness, they are letting him air it out. He's being accurate. He's throwing for a shit ton of yards and also putting the ball in the end zone as well. Josh Allen is the hottest fantasy quarterback right now. Also, the Rams offense looks a bit reinvented as well, using this wheel of running backs between Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers, and Darrell Henderson. More on them in just a little bit. And then also shifting over to the full utilization of Tyler Higbee. And also they still have great wide receivers with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. So this Rams offense is kind of just kicking and moving again. You know, last season we kind of saw it stall the majority of the season. And this year there seems to be some new life and some new energy on that side of the ball for the Rams. Talking about some injuries for this game, Cam Akers is out with that rim injury, rookie running back for the Rams. And then also rookie running back for the Bills, Zach Moss, is out with a toe injury as well. Everybody else is up and active. So now let's move over to some start-sit. Again, another game that I think has some questions to it, but there is some definite answers to some of those questions, but also some definitive starts as well. Excuse me. So your auto starts for the Rams are going to be Robert Woods, they're going to be Cooper Kupp, and they're going to be Tyler Higbee, right? Higbee is absolutely balling out. Robert Woods had an incredible game last week. No, he scored a touchdown last week, didn't do much. He had a great game against the Cowboys in Week 1. Mess up on my part there. And there is some worry about Cooper Kupp, admittedly. But for now, I still think you play him. Just going through his numbers so far through the season, the snap percentages are a bit low, admittedly, and I honestly think it's just because of the slow emergence of Van Jefferson, the rookie wide receiver out of Florida, a guy who I am so fucking happy is playing so well during the early part of his rookie season. If you guys missed it, all offseason long, I was banging my drum about Van Jefferson and how much I love him. And to see me hit that dart, because that was a name that not a whole lot of people were bringing up, and I had Van Jefferson inside my top 15 of my dynasty rankings coming into the season. So going back to Cooper Kupp though, snap percentages of 83 and 86. 5 targets, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 5 receptions, 40 yards, and 81. So honestly, he just hasn't found his way into the end zone. And admittedly, this matchup against the Bills, against this Bills secondary, is it's tough. It's tough sledding. I do think that this is going to be a game though that on the surface, right, these two teams match up very, very well. Both teams have very good defenses. Both teams have offenses that are moving the ball right now. And I'm really, really excited for this game. These two teams should absolutely be 2-0, and I'm excited to see how this game trends. With Cooper Kupp, I think you're playing him, right? While the targets aren't what you would like to see, and Cooper Kupp is a guy who has slowly become a bit touchdown dependent as well, just know, like, when the Rams are going into the red zone, he's going to be the guy that Jared Goff is going to look towards. And I think that's something you can confidently count on in this matchup against the Bills, a game where admittedly I'm kind of expecting a game in the 30s or high 20s, so there is going to be scoring potential for him in this matchup. I understand it's been rough sledding for him so far, and you might be scared to start him, but I do think, he is another one of those cases where you give it a 3-week span, right? Whatever happens after this week, then you can make that full decision because we'll have enough data to see where he actually slides into the wide receiver rankings and start sit for the rest of the season. So I'm still playing Cooper Kupp with some level of confidence in this matchup. With the running backs, though, as I said, Cam Akers is out. And that leaves us with Malcolm Brown, who is actually playing with a splint on his pinky. I don't know if he broke it or if he had a torn ligament, but he had a quick surgery. I think he broke it. He had a quick surgery to fix it, and he's going to play with a splint on that pinky. And there's also Darrell Henderson, who is healthy coming off of that hamstring injury. I've been asked multiple times this week, do I start Malcolm Brown or do I start Darrell Henderson? And if that is your current predicament and you have both and you're trying to figure out who to start, my favorite piece of advice whenever that happens for me is I'm trying to find a third option. I think I've talked about this before I think I actually wrote about this before this channel even started. I always try and find a third option in that case, right? I don't want to be in the position where I'm trying to guess a coin flip based upon two running backs in the same backfield. In fact, I'm actually going through this situation a little bit right now in my one league where I have the entire Chargers backfield and I have the entire Buccaneers backfield as well. It's not a situation that I'm thrilled about being in, admittedly. And I feel like this Rams backfield is just very, very similar to that, to where every single week you got to hope that the coin lands on whatever side you decided to roll the dice on. So specifically, one of the questions that I was asked was, do I start Malcolm Brown, Darrell Henderson, or Myles Gaskin this week? And I said, you roll out Gaskin, and the reason why is because I would rather have the guy who is going to get all the work than trying to decide between two players who are going to split the work 50-50. Now, luckily, the Myles Gaskin play did work out, so shout out to me for calling that one right. But this is just not something that I want to be a part of for the long run. If you have one of them, I'm fairly kind of confident starting the one, right? Like, this is just going to be an absolute disaster, I think, for the rest of the season. And I truly am trying to avoid this backfield at all costs, especially if it is going to be just this revolving door of running backs week in and week out. I will say this, though. My bold prediction is Malcolm Brown is going to have a fumble in this game with that splint on the pinky. I don't know if you know this or not. I want you to try and pick something up without using your pinky. It's a little bit awkward, admittedly, right? The pinky is such a viable, what's the right word? A pinky isn't a ligament. It's such a vital part of the body, whatever. And so trying to carry a football with 4 fingers instead of 5 might not be in the best interest of the Rams, admittedly. So I do lean Henderson just a bit more than Brown, since that is the case. I'd rather take the guy playing with 10 fingers than the guy playing with 9. As far as the Bills go, you're going to start Josh Allen. He's hot. You have to ride the hot hand right now. Starting John Brown. And I actually have more confidence in John Brown than Stefon Diggs. Diggs going up against Jalen Ramsey. That's going to be an absolutely electric battle. I'm really excited to see who wins there. If you guys don't know, Jalen Ramsey is one of, if not my favorite football player right now. No, Lamar is 1. Jalen Ramsey's probably 2. All things considered. So I'm still starting Diggs. My expectations might just be a little bit lower, right? I expect Diggs to probably finish with like 6 catches for 85 yards. I don't really expect him to get into the end zone. So I do think he's still a fine play, just kind of lower what you expect him to do, especially coming off of that great game last week versus the Dolphins. And lastly, I'm going to play Devin Singletary, and the reason why is because there is no Zach Moss, right? There is no one else in this backfield who's going to be splitting those carries with him, and so he's going to get the full opportunity, not only in the pass game, but also in the ground game as well. I think that's going to do it, though, for my Rams and Bills game preview, so if you are excited for this game and you found this video useful, be sure to hit that like button down below. You can also subscribe. Once again, I'm on the road to hitting 100 subs, and I would love to hit that by the end of week 3. Last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. If you missed any of the other Game 3 previews, you can click a link somewhere up here for that. And I'm going to get out of here. Thank you again so much for watching. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever, and I will see you in the next video.